I'll just repeat the question so you guys are recording it here. Are artists happy with working to the constraints of the consoles? And no artist is ever happy with that, but that's game development. They just have to suck it up and work with it. And a really talented artist is one who can work with those constraints and work to your really limited poly counts and bone counts and make something really cool. Of course, every artist wants to create massive textures and massive poly counts and just go berserk, but the reality is you can't run that on every console, so a good artist works within limitations.
How proficient are your designers in Maya? Do they grey box and do that stuff in Maya, or is that up to an artist or a level designer?
We've only got a couple of what we call designers, but then we've got a team of about, I think, 6 or 8 level designers who, they're not great artists, but they're good designers, and they just grey box levels in Maya, do all the mission and entity placement in Maya, but we don't make art with that. But on the other hand, years ago, it was the artists doing a lot of that grey boxing and mission design in Maya, and then it was probably about 5 years ago we saw the need for more specific level designers to sort of take over a lot of that job. Because you want artists making art, and where possible, put the design to designers. You can just concentrate on making the mission cool, or making the layout of the level really cool, or placing your health packs and enemies at good locations throughout the mission.
Do you outsource your options or
Questions, do we outsource? We have done a little bit over the years, but not much. As projects get bigger, it's certainly something we'll have to do more of, but our experience with outsourcing has been far from great. Some are good, some aren't, but as projects get bigger, we'll have to do more of it, that's for sure.
And would you have to outsource
Yeah, we would have to. Well, it depends on what it is. If it's just modelling, they just send us a car or a level or tree or whatever. We just take it and then export it ourselves. Unless we wanted them to be able to run the game, then we have to send some of our tool sets and pipeline tools and that sort of thing.
The text file that you use to export the geometry to, is that a custom format?
Yeah, it's our own custom, what we just call a scene file, and it has a geometry version and an animation version. And yeah, it's something we just put together quickly a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago now, probably more. Our tools used to export to .x format, but it just got too ugly, too hard to use, and pretty quickly we just thought, no, let's do our own format. Then we can do whatever changes we want really easily. It's much easier to edit than .x. It's just simpler. It only has what it absolutely needs. And if we want something custom in there, it's ours to do our own.
In developing these scripts, kind of these tools, I assume there wouldn't be much time to actually test them. How do you kind of,
well,
presumably you're doing it during the production process.
Oh, always, yeah. I do as much testing as I can myself, and then I'll usually just get one of the guys to guinea pig it for a little while for me, and then if there's no major problems, I'll just check it into Alien Brain and tell people to get latest. But I always get someone else to guinea pig it, because every time I don't, something goes wrong. So it's always the old case of it worked on my machine. And that happens all the time with everyone's tools and plugins and various things. So I get a guinea pig and then put it out when it's all good.
How do you guys handle lighting? How do you handle lighting?
How do we handle lighting? For Wii PS2 DS, it's all just baked vertex colours. So yeah, usually mental ray, and just set up a really nice light rig in there. Some of the artists are awesome at lighting and pretty quickly baking all the lights for a level. 360, we did a combo of sort of cut-in shadows and then real-time on top of that. And I think as time goes on, it's going to be all just real-time lighting, and then you can't do much more than baked-in shadows to vertex colours for your level geometry for the Wii PS2. All of our characters and dynamic objects are dynamically lit. In the entity tools, people can actually place light volumes. So it's a volume with a dynamic light or a directional light and that sort of thing. But that only affects the characters and any dynamic props. So you just need to match those lights to the baked lighting as best you can.
Do you expect your artists to have a decent understanding of mill scripts and to write some of their own tools, and then you pick them up and then clean them up? Or
The question is, do we expect the artists to know Mel script? And we don't expect them to, but I really like it when they do. Unfortunately, very few do. within the studio, there's only a couple that are brave enough to have a bit of mallocation. They regularly come out and saying, "Oh, I can do this little script for me," and sometimes a 2-minute script will save them an hour or two of work.
So you'd like to see that in your artists?
Yeah, I'd love them to. I think it's awesome. But I'm happy to do a quick script in a few minutes if I know it'll save them a few hours. So even if I'm in the middle of something, I'll just drop it, do a quick script and give it to them. Because I hate having anyone just start waiting or doing a really laborious batch process by hand and that sort of thing. Within the tools as well, there's another tab for just batch exporting or batch processing. I can just say, I want to export the graphics to every level of the game in this folder. Go. And if we need to, we can just re-export everything and that sort of thing. So try and avoid reopening every scene every time, just reworking things. Any more? Thanks, guys.